In this video, I'm going to talk about how it affects you if you have a flat foot or an arch that is low to the ground, and if it's stuck in that position and not dynamic and not functioning well, how it affects you from the ground up when you're walking. So ideally, after we heel strike when we're walking and we load this front leg in our walking pattern, ideally our arch goes low towards the ground. Our foot pronates here. So going to more flat-footed, longer, wider foot is pronation, and this loads the foot. So it loads and lengthens the arch muscles, and as you do that, it also loads the glute on this leg. So I'm loading my glute, and I feel it load as I load the foot. And that's going to lend itself to, when you take a step with this opposite leg, helping you supinate or shorten your foot better because you lengthened and loaded the arch muscles. So if they lengthen and load properly, then when you go to take a step with the opposite leg, you supinate and your foot starts to become a more rigid lever to walk on. And this helps you use your arch muscles properly because they can supinate or make an arch and become a rigid foot to push off. This also helps you to use your glute properly because you loaded it. So because you're loading the foot and the glute here, it allows you to take a better step and push off with a supinated foot that's rigid to give you a good push off from the ground up. This helps me to have more energy when I'm walking from the ground up because this supinated foot that I'm pushing off allows me to contract from the ground up. My calf, my hamstring, and my glute are all more active because my foot is doing what it's supposed to. If I have a flat foot that's not dynamic, so when I load, it doesn't change length, and you don't feel it loading and you don't feel the glute loading because the foot's stagnant and stuck in this flat-footed shape, then when I go to step with the opposite foot, it's still flat, and then when I go to push off, it's still flat, and then I have more of a sinking energy towards the ground. So as you can see, that's very different looking, and it also feels totally different. So you got the flat foot, not changing shape, not loading, my glute isn't loading. And then when I go to push off, I don't have that nice rigid foot to push off, so it's more like sinking towards the ground. And then because I don't have that energy springing off the floor like that, I have to pick this leg up to take my next step. So then walking becomes a series of dragging your foot along because you don't have the supinated foot, the rigid foot to push off, the energy up the back of your leg, that good muscle activity. When you have that supinated foot and the rigid foot to push off, that helps you feel like you're just rolling along as you walk with efficiency. And this stagnant push off, picking up your foot, dragging it for each step. A lot of people have to pick up their leg, put it down, pick it up again. So this makes a big difference in the way you walk and the way you run if you're a runner, and the way you feel. So once you start getting a more dynamic pattern where your foot goes from pronation to supination, and you just alternate back and forth very dynamically in a very functional pattern, it feels more effective. It can help you move faster and have less aches and pains in your body from doing these activities. Let me know if you have any questions.